proportional reasoning, and fractions, decimals, and percents. First of all, we need to know what is a percent. Percent means out of 100. We also need to be able to convert between percents and fractions. In order to change a percent to a fraction, since percent means out of 100, I can rewrite it as a fraction out of 100. For example, 42% means 42 out of 100, or 42 over 100. And the hitch is we have to remember that with fractions, we always need to write them in lowest terms. So we're going to need to reduce. And what we want to look for is the greatest common factor of 42 and 100, which is in fact 2. So we're going to divide both the numerator and the denominator by 2. And in the end, we're going to end up with, 21 over 50. Next, we need to know how to change a fraction to a percent. A fraction means something out of something. So if I have 5 out of 6, I can change it to a decimal first by doing 5 divided by 6, and then I multiply by 100. You'll notice that the 3 is repeated continually, so I indicate that by putting a bar over top. And I still do that even with the percent answer. If I round it, I have to put the approximately equal to dot right here. That has to go on. And I round following proper rounding conventions. Converting between decimals and fractions. So if it's a decimal, I have to think about it. If I have the number 0.9, that number is in my 10th spot. That's 9/10. So if I have one digit after the decimal, that's 9/10. There's 1 0 in the denominator. Now if I make it 0.09, that's in my hundredths column. So I have 9 hundredths. So if I have 2 digits after the decimal, I'm going to put 2 zeros after the 1 in the denominator of the fraction. So the number 1.475, if I look at this carefully, I have 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal. I'm going to not write the decimal in the numerator, so I'm just going to put 1475 and 3 numbers after the decimal in the denominator. That's my thousandths column I ended in, so it's 1475 thousandths. And again, I need to follow my proper rounding conventions, or sorry, not rounding. I have to follow my proper conventions for fractions and write it in lowest terms, and I can divide both the numerator and denominator by 25, which leaves me 59 over 40. Fractions to decimals, we already did that a few minutes ago. When we were looking at changing a fraction to a percent, we just divide the numerator by the denominator. And this is exactly the same question we had before, except we're stopping as a decimal. So 5 divided by 6, right here, becomes this as a decimal. Again, I put the bar over top of the number that's repeated. And then I can round to the whatever decimal place. Changing percents or changing decimals to a percent, pretty straightforward. We know from grade 8, multiply by 100. So 3.27 times 100% is 327%. And finally, changing percents to decimals. We multiplied to go decimal to percent. We're going to go the other way and divide by 100. So 25% divided by 100 is 0.25. And you can work on page 2, fractions, decimals, and percent homework, questions 1 to 2.